The meaning behind Be Free, a reminder of who we are and how we rise. Purpose, I know who I am. I walk in confidence, strength, and purpose. Healing, I choose to heal, release, and grow from every experience. Resilience, I adapt, I don't quit. I turn challenges into comebacks. Empowered, I am enough, I am capable, I am empowered. Elevated, I uplift myself and others. I create spaces for all of us to rise. Evolution, I choose excellence in everything I do. I don't just exist, I leave an impact.
Hey, all right. So we are live. This is Charissa Marie with Charissa Marie, Be Free, and we have some awesome. This is going to be an awesome night. I know it's going to be an awesome night because it was a lot of work to get here. Okay, it was so, and when it's so much work to get here, that just means that it's just a setup. It's set up for something great because somebody didn't want us to be here to do the thing. And if somebody didn't want to be here to do the thing, that means we are about to do the thing. So we are, here's why I'm so excited. So I have my best friend, old boss, because she hates when I say that, Shay. I asked her to be my co-host here because this is a very special occasion for me to do this. And then I have someone very, very special here that I met her at church, but I feel like I would have met her in life some kind of way anyway, how she moves. I just feel like I would have eventually met her anyway. And so listen, let's introduce the queen of the hour today. This is Dr. LEXY'S Branch. Dr. Lexy is what we call her, of the Oprah Winfrey Network and John Maxwell team, is powerhouse preacher, international speaker, professor, project management professional, confidence coach. She is a serial entrepreneur who has started and ran a number of businesses in the insurance, financial services, healthcare, real estate, and consulting industries. So Dr. Lexy is also the founder of the Transformation Collective. It's a 501c3 organization and the creator of Confidence University. And it's a transformational program that educates, equips, and empowers women and girls who grapple with fear and self-doubt to take their power back and unlock their full potential. Dr. Lexy is a change agent. That's big. I love that. Who understands that the only constant is change, and those who fail to adapt will be left behind. Absolutely. Dr. Lexy is a published scholar of the underrepresentation of Black female executives in corporate America, ProQuest study. She is the author of She Has Confidence. I love that. It's a 21-day journal to unshakable confidence. Dr. Lexy inspires dreamers to abandon conventional thinking, ignite their superpower of confidence, and live without limits. She is a champion for operating from a growth mindset, stepping outside of your comfort zone and getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. In her world, confidence is not an option. Confidence is the game changer. Dr. Lexy. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Here she is. Dr. Lexy. Okay. All right. Before we jump into things, tell me about this book. So is it a book or a journal?
It's a journal. So as you said, it's entitled She Has Confidence. It is a 21-day journal to unshakable confidence. Why 21? Because if you do anything 21 times, it forms a habit. So there are 21 principles. Each day is a different principle, and each day you have a summary of what that principle entails. There is a prayer, there is an affirmation, and there is an action item. Because in order to do anything, it takes action. And so there are 21 different principles. And as a woman walks through this journey, at the end of this journey, she will be on the road to unshakable confidence. But there's one thing I must say, and we'll talk about this maybe a little bit later. Confidence is not a journey. I mean, confidence is not a destination. It is a journey, right? Because sometimes you feel confident, but some things, life happens, life be life and it'll knock you down. But so confidence is not a destination, it is a journey. So still on my journey, excited what God has poured into me with confidence, because that is one of the things that you talked about in my bio is I am a confidence coach, because there are so many women who are grappling with fear. And I don't just coach women, I coach people in general, children, men. I do have one testimony I love to tell about this young gentleman that was in his final year of law school. And he came to me last summer, as a matter of fact. And he came to me because he said that he wanted to take my fearless speaking course, one-on-one training. And when we got into the course, the first thing I always do is I get an assessment of where you are, why you're here, and what you hope to get out of it. And he told me he had a fear of speaking. And as we began to talk, he was very articulate. I was like, your problem is not speaking. Your problem was confidence. And so we had a 6-week session. It went really well. He went back to law school. I kind of forgot, to be honest. And then he texted me the other day and he says, Dr. Lexy, this is your student James from last summer. And he was like, I want you to know that I passed my bar on the first time. I'm now an attorney at a litigation firm. He said, thank you for everything that you've done. And you're right. It was not speaking, it was confidence. And so, yeah, so I love what I do. If I could do it, if I didn't get paid, I would still do it. How about that?
That's awesome. And that's when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So let's talk about some things tonight, because there's so much going on.
Yes.
So when life forces you to change direction, because I think we've all been in a situation when life has forced you to change direction. So on that topic, my first question, what happens when the path you planned, and this is for both of you, when the path you planned no longer fits the woman you're becoming?
What do you do? What do you do when the life that you have is no longer fitting the woman that you're becoming? That's a very good question, because what we normally do, or I would say normally do, what we sometimes do is we try to preserve the life that we have. We try to preserve the title that we have. We try to preserve the relationship that we have, or the identity that we have. You know why? Because we put so much into it, right? But what we have to realize is that longevity is not the same as alignment. Because I don't know about you, I want to be in God's will, and I want to be aligned with his will. And so just because I've been doing something a long time, because I've been in this relationship, because I've been at this job, because this is who people know me, that doesn't mean that I'm in alignment with what God has for me. So when life no longer fits, right? It's not even about dishonoring what happened to you, but you cannot let your past dictate your future. So when you get to this place, right? When life is saying, I need a new direction, which this is what we're talking about in the conference. When life says, I need a new direction, you have to do a self-assessment, right? Because you're not starting from zero. You're starting from whatever experiences you have, whatever, I call it your stack. In technology, we call it a technology stack, but I'm going to call it a life stack. Your knowledge, your skills, your ability, your experiences. You're starting from there, right? And so what I have to do is I have to say to myself, what is it that I need to let go of? Because in order for me to move into who God is calling me to be, I got to let go of some things. I got to let go of what no longer serves me. I got to let go of what hurt me. I got to let go of what caused me shame, right? So I got to release that thing, right? And then the next thing is I need to find my healing. Ladies, how many of y'all know that so often we're walking around unhealed? We're hurt. We got wounds that are cut open. We're gashing. You know what I mean? So you got to release what no longer serves you. You got to start your healing, and then you got to get in a rebuild phase. And what does rebuild to me? It means to me like the woman with the oil and a little cruise. She said, I ain't got much, but what I do have. And that's what God wants us to do. Recognize what we do have and then begin to forge that pathway. And then ultimately, we want to step outside our comfort zone, right? Because many of us love comfort. We want to do what feels comfortable. We know what's predictable. But if we really want to be and step into that woman that we are becoming, you got to get outside your comfort zone, because everything that you're looking for is outside your comfort zone. Everything. So it's about taking an investment. That's it.
Yeah.
And making a decision. Everything starts with a decision. I'm no longer going to be here. This is the last day. I'm not going to do this anymore. Right?
Absolutely.
I call that a pivot. You know, you have to take that moment when you just have to say it's time to pivot.
That's
and
it.
when you have started your life on one track, and now that you notice this doesn't suit me anymore, just like in basketball, if that play isn't moving anymore, you got to pivot. And you have to pivot, and you also have to be flexible with life, because I tell my kids all the time, when you playing, God laughs. So that falls back onto what you said, Lexi. You know, what is your purpose, and what was your divine order for that?
Right.
And just because it's something that we have done and gotten used to, gotten accustomed to,
Familiar.
that doesn't mean that's what our purpose is supposed to be. That just means that we fell into what we were comfortable with.
Oh, comfort. Oh, God, that's a dangerous place to be.
It is, because once we get into that comfort zone, we get the other C word, which is complacent.
Ooh, come on now.
Comfort and complacency go hand in hand. And I think we definitely cannot be complacent with our lives. And like I said, we just have to pivot when it comes to that.
Pivot. I love it.
Yes.
That's a part of the conference.
Well, Dr. Lexi, how do you know when it's time to turn north and choose that new direction?
Well, to me, you know, it's time to turn north or go into a new direction when it's so hard trying to maintain what you're holding on to. Let's think about a relationship. Okay.
Come on now.
When you just like, this is so hard. Oh my God. This is so hard. I'm just trying to maintain, but see, I want to hold on to it because it's familiar, right? And then, so what happens is you begin circling in that same disappointment, circling in that same fear, circling in that same conflict. That's when you know that it's time to turn north. Because you're going to tell yourself, look, I've been here too long. So you think about the children of Israel. It took them 40 years to go what should have took them 40 days, right? And it's because they kept trying to hold on to something that no longer served them. That's what Deuteronomy 2:3 says. You've been circling around this hill country long enough. Now it's turn to turn north. So you have to listen to your discernment, right? Because we all have it. And if you're a woman of God, we call it the Holy Spirit, right? And if we listen to the Holy Spirit, it will tell us that this path no longer serves us. This path no longer serves us, right?
Right. So for some of the people that are listening to our podcast today, I did ask the question, when do you know it's time to turn north? In your words, tell us what turning north means.
Yes.
What we could say that means to people so they can understand what we're saying when we say turn north.
So turn north means, just like you said, it's a new direction. And when I say a new direction, we think north, south, east, and west, forward, backwards. But when I think new, it's not just a direction, it's a new direction. And when I look at new, I break that word down into next expansion window. That's what it means for me. Because what we have to understand is that not every door is real, not every closed door is really rejection. Sometimes it's redirection, right? And it also sometimes means that your assignment has changed, right? So I might have been at the school and I may have been a teacher for a minute, but that may have only been my assignment for the first 10 years of my life. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm supposed to do that until I retire. Sometimes that rejection or that uneasiness that you're feeling, that conflict inside is saying it's time for a new assignment. When we think about purpose, our purpose changes. Purpose evolves. It's not the same. Your purpose now, my purpose now at 50 is not the same that it was when I was 25. Sometimes it's time for a new assignment. When I say turn north, the conference that we're having, it's saying take a new direction. It's saying bet on yourself. It's saying step outside your comfort zone. It's saying whatever ever has happened to you, that's what happened to you. That's not who you are.
Say that. Right. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Who you are.
speaking of, reinvention and the new direction for you personally, Dr. Lexy, what has that looked like for you in your life? This reinvention. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so it has looked very different for me in different parts of my life, right? It feels like my life has been about reinvention and it's been about evolving and it's been about becoming. So I think about how I started as a child. I was raised in public housing. I never knew my father. My mother was a drug addict. You know what I mean? So I was raised by my great-great-grandmother. So I went from the projects into the military, right? And then I went from the military into corporate America. And then I transitioned from corporate America and went into academia. I left there and then went into entrepreneurship, right? So all of these things have been continued to reinvent myself. And oh, by the way, I experienced marriage and divorce, right? And oh, by the way, you understand, I had to close my business. I had to battle with cancer. So reinvention has been the story of my life, if I'm just being honest with you. But what reinvention has told me is that it's always possible. Right? And it's always possible. It's always practical, whether you believe it or not. We were not meant to be the same. That's why all of us have a different DNA strand, right? Because God wanted us all to be unique. He wanted us all to be different. But one of the things that I learned is that each phase of my life required a different version of me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Required a different version of me. Think about like when I was a young girl, I was 19 years old, leaving home, going to the military. That required a different level of courage than when I was 50 years old and battling cancer.
Absolutely.
A different version of me when I was going through divorce. You understand? A different version, different skills and things I didn't even know about myself had to surface. But that's what we have to remember is that reinvention means that it's requiring a different version of you.
All right.
You know what? And I don't want to get off topic because this topic is so sensitive to me right now. And I'm sure it hits hard for all of us. The different, I like how you illustrate that. Different versions of yourself, because we tend to get stuck.
Yes.
We've known ourselves for our whole life. And it's hard sometimes to pivot because well, this is what I've always done. Or even relationships.
Oh my
because
God.
they feel comfortable, you know what I mean? And it's okay. There's a different version of yourself awaiting you. There's just a whole different version of yourself waiting for you to catch up.
Waiting for you to step into her. Waiting.
Yeah.
Right. So I would say that, yeah, definitely, because we are ever evolving as humans. So we definitely, I say that we've had so many different, I tell myself at least, I've had so many different lives.
Yes.
You know? I'm still the same person, but I've been so many different people, if that makes sense at all.
Yes,
you
it
know,
does.
I've been a mother. I've been, unfortunately, I was a wife. You know, I've been a caregiver. I've been different things to different people. Right. And now I'm in a new phase of my life where I'm learning me again. Again, absolutely. So
I think the key to moving in those directions and being able to pivot and do those, it falls under the confidence. And you, Dr. Lexi, have written this book about confidence. So my question is, like, how do we get it back? How do accomplish women? And we are all accomplished in our own right.
Yes, we
But
are.
why? And I can speak this personally. Why do we still struggle with fear and self-doubt? At this big age,
Right.
you would think, baby, I done been there, done that, wrote the book literally for you.
Right.
But here I am. I'm still struggling with self-doubt. Am I good enough? Am I doing this right? How do we get to where we need to be? Why do we still struggle with that?
So, first of all, I want to tell you why we struggle, especially accomplished women struggle with self-doubt. It's because we think that our achievements validate us. But what we learn, we think that our achievements validate us, our achievements. But our achievements only prove that we're capable, right? And they're only temporary. So what confidence is, it says, if I don't have these degrees, if I'm not an author, if I don't have this title, I still believe in myself. And so the reason why we struggle is because, especially in this world that we're in right now, when the applause stops, when the relationship ends, when the income is cut off, when there's uncertainty, right? Then the confidence disappears because it was only performative anyway. We didn't really believe it.
Because it was attached to a title.
It was attached to a title, baby. And I'm telling you what I know from my own experience. Got more degrees than a thermometer. You understand what I'm saying? More certification than I can even remember. Right? Because I wanted to prove that I was good enough. I want to prove that I was smart. I want to prove that I could do what other people couldn't do. And when I was in the military, what men couldn't do, or what they thought that women couldn't do, right? And so it was all performative. But confidence says that in spite of, no matter what happens to me, I believe, first of all, I believe that I'm a child of God, and that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And I trust his will for my life. And regardless of what I see right now, I'm still going to pick them up and put them down. But what we don't understand, and that's the first principle in this book of confidence, is self-worth. You have to understand, and I want to point out that you have to understand that regardless, without your accomplishments, without anything, let me read this out of this book because this is so powerful. It says specifically, it says self-worth is the deep-seated acknowledgement of your intrinsic value as a person, independent of external achievements, social status, or recognition. Self-worth is about understanding that you are enough just as you are, without needing to prove your value through accomplishments or comparison to others. This foundation of self-worth empowers you to navigate challenges and opportunities with resilience and confidence that is not easily shaken by external circumstances. We've been shaken because our foundation is not strong. That's how we lose it, because if we're really honest, some of us never really had it.
That part.
It was only certain. Because see, confidence doesn't mean that, hair did, nails thing, everything did. It don't mean that. It don't mean just because I get on the stage and I can perform and I can speak and I can go to my job and I can do everything that's required of me. That means that I am competent. It does not mean that I'm confident.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes, you spoke on that. Absolutely.
Yes, and you ran us right into the question I need to know from you. So break it down for the people in the back. Okay. So the difference between looking confident and actually being confident.
Yes. So looking confident, like I said, is presentation, right?
Yeah.
Just think about, because what we say, wear a certain type of clothes, it makes you look confident, stand a certain way, stand with erect, usually that is all presentation. That's presentation. But confidence is self-trust. You understand that? It's that I know that I belong in this room. Whether they validate me or not, I know that I belong. That's what confidence says. That if I don't get the job, it wasn't for me. That's what confidence says. God has something better for me. If for some reason you allowed that door to close, you're going to open up another one, because I know. And what I don't know, I know I have the ability to learn, right? I have the courage. I have the resilience, all these principles that are inside of this book, right? And again, even if I get no validation, it doesn't mean that I'm not fearful, because fear is a real thing, right? But it says that I don't let fear dictate my life, right? So when I think about being confident, because for many years, I've always looked confident. I've always looked confident, right? Because my grandmother taught me that. But it wasn't that I actually walked in confidence until I went to John Maxwell's conference. And I realized who I was. And I realized the power that I had inside of me. And I understood what limiting beliefs were. And I understood that the things around me, even the things that people thought they were doing good for me, were actually hurting me. So when I was able to analyze that and see myself outside of myself, right? And see this big superhero that God had made me. And that was only probably, I'll say 7 years ago. 7 years ago. But I always looked the part. You see, I jumped out of planes. I repaired out of helicopters. I was a military officer. I was an academic geek. I've always looked confident, but I can't say that I always walked in confidence until I realized really who I was and who I was in God, and began to solely trust him and the ability that he gave me. So it's different between presentation and actually having the posture of confidence.
Right. So I have two questions. My first one is, for, let's just say we have a young lady that's coming up in the world, just coming out into our own. Give me one sentence on what you would say to encourage her, something that would cement into her mind that she can build that confidence off of. What sentence would you give her to build her foundation on?
Be your authentic self. Be your authentic self. I wish somebody had told me that years ago. I spent so much of my life trying to accommodate what other people needed me to be. And I was taught that that is the way to success. So if I would tell any young woman or any young man, be your authentic self, everybody else is taken. Understand? Everybody else is taken. Be who God created you to be and walk in it boldly. It's not all listening. It's not always popular. It's not always safe, but it is always safe in walking in who God created you. When I say it's not always safe, people may not always accept you. It may come with rejection, right? But be your authentic self unapologetically.
Okay. So let's just say that we come out in this world and we had that presentation of confidence, but deep down inside, we lack that confidence, or better yet, we allowed our confidence to be shaken by our relationships, by our employers, by the life that we live, just by people in general. You know, like you said we also compare ourselves. Comparison is the thief of joy. So when we let all of these things snatch our power, snatch our confidence, what does it mean to take your power back?
Oh, so first of all, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. You notice the first thing he said, he did not give us this, but he gave us what? Power. That power was always ours. But oftentimes, as you said, we relinquish it because of the vicissitudes of life, right? So when we take our power back, the first step is not pretending that what happened didn't hurt you.
Say that again.
Not pretending that what happened didn't hurt you. Not pretending that you were not embarrassed, not pretending that, because we can't do that, right? Because we live in a fantasy if we don't acknowledge the hurt that we've been through. But we have to say in that same sentence, yes, that happened to me. That is not me, and it's not going to command my life. I'm going to take power over my life. And we know that that power starts where? In your mind.
Right.
Everything starts in your mind. Everything that you see, everything that you become, everything that you do, it starts in your mind. I never forget when I thought about going into the military, I was like, can I really do that? Like, can I? Because I never saw anybody in my family do it. I never saw anybody in my neighborhood do it. But then I began to say, you know, if they can do it, then I can do it too. Right? So it comes first with acknowledging what has happened to you. And the next thing is you have to tell yourself that you are the author of your story. You are the author, not a person, not a job, not an experience. You are the author of your story. And you are the best person to write what's going to happen in the future. So the other steps that you take with taking your mind, taking your power back, number one, you got to change your mindset. Right? The second one is you got to change. I had a sermon about this. It was 3 things: change your mindset, change your milieu, and start moving. It was 3 M's. And what is milieu? It's a word for environment. You got to change your environment. You got to put yourself in a growth environment, because in a growth environment, people are ahead of you. In a growth environment, excellence is modeled and expected of you. In a growth environment, people are pouring into you. They're not jealous of you. You got to change your environment, because oftentimes the reason why we're stuck in a place is the people around us.
Say that. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And everything, if you're going to shift, if you're going to pivot, if you're going to get promoted, you're going to do something new, it takes movement. We can't talk about it. We got to be about it.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Change your mindset, change your milieu, and get to moving. That's how you take your power back.
I love that. Love it.
I love this. So, Dr. Lexy, okay, so I'm already inspired by you anyway.
Oh, thank you.
And I am, and you wrote this book, and I'm glad that you did.
Mm-hmm.
At your core, what inspired you to write this book? And what do you hope happens for women in those 21 days?
21 days. Yes, 21 days. You change a habit. You create a habit in 21 days.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So what inspired me is really what I told you guys earlier. For so many years, I was LEXY'S and who everybody else needed me to be. Who my job needed me to be, who the army needed me to be, who my husband needed me to be. I was all those things. And again, I had the presentation of confidence, but I was fugazi, as we call it at home. It was fugazi. It was fugazi. I was capping because I looked the part, but I did not truly believe in myself. So again, when I had that epiphany at John Maxwell's conference, God gave me a mandate for women. That's why I say she has confidence, because this book is specifically for women, because women have different experiences, right? We balance so many things at one time, right? So what I wanted to give women a tool that would help them create a solid foundation, right? In which that they can build their life. And I wanted to demonstrate again, that confidence is not a destination, it's a journey. You're going to have peaks, you're going to have valleys, you're going to be doing really well, then something's going to happen, it's going to knock you down for a season, but you got to have that resilience to step back up. So I wanted to give women a tool, and I'm so big on strategy, right? I don't believe in just having inspiration and motivation. I like to see transformation. So I wanted them to walk through this thing, right? Either with themselves or with a friend. And at the end of that, I wanted them to understand how important confidence is, because one of the things that I say, and you spread it in my bio, is that confidence is not an option, it's the game changer. Because if you think about any area of your life, without confidence, you're not going to achieve the maximum potential. Just think about it. It's confidence that tells someone that never did anything before that they can do it. It was confidence that told Steve Jobs and his friend to put this company together and start Apple. It was confidence that even after Steve Jobs got removed from his own company, they put him off the board. Come on. It was confidence for him to keep trying and to get that seat back in his company. See, confidence says that it doesn't matter if I never did it before. It doesn't matter if my family hasn't did it. It doesn't matter if no one that looked like me did it. I believe in God. And I believe what he has for my life. And I believe that if somebody else can do it, I can do it. Even if nobody else has ever did it, I believe I can. So I just want to be the embodiment of that. And that's why I put me on the front of this, because that's another thing. I wanted little Black girls to see somebody that looks like them. You understand? They can read my Bible. They can be, even though they don't know me, they can be inspired by me. It's something that I consider something I could do, because oftentimes when I grew up, I didn't see anything like this on the shelves. There was nothing that looked like me. I couldn't dare wear my hair like this. No way could I do that. Right? So I wanted to be the embodiment of what other women and other young girls could do. And that's be confident.
Yeah.
And when you have confidence, there's nothing you can't do. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. You know, you mentioned, or you said, when you left your home to go into the military, that was confidence. And, you know, it really wasn't until this very moment that I never thought of me joining the military was confidence. I thought it was a necessity. It wasn't confidence. Right. It was getting out of low income housing projects. It was trying to help my family. I never viewed it as confidence, but it did take courage for us to leave our homes at young ages, like right out of high school and rolling into an unknown world. So thanks for giving me that, because I never thought it as courageous. It was just, for me, it was a necessity. I had to do it. Because
you had to trust yourself.
College wasn't an option for me. So I was like, what am I going to do? Military. Okay, I can make money. I can send money home to my mom for the family. So never thought of it as being courageous. But
yes, ma'am. It absolutely was. It absolutely was.
Look at me.
Look at you.
Look at me. So what we're going to talk about, getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
Oh, yes. The story of my life, baby.
Fear, failure, rejection.
Yes.
And today's society, with social media being the strong presence that it is.
Oh my God.
I don't care who you are. If you say you haven't, I might call you a tail.
Right.
Comparison.
Comparison, absolutely.
We compare ourselves to everything now.
Yep.
We're not even going to talk about it because we already know what we do.
Yes. Oh, yes. Everything. Compare everything. Your hair, your lips, your eyes, your income, your job, your car, your everything. Everything.
Yes, we do. And so when we got all that into play, how do we stop letting fear make our decisions? When we have all of these outside forces coming at us, I might be scared to do my own podcast because what are people going to think of me? Who am I to think I can start my own podcast? Now, what if I fail? What if they don't like it? What if nobody watches? What if my friends don't? What if?
Come on.
How do we stop letting fear make our decisions? Talk to me, Dr. Lexy.
So how do we stop allowing fear to help make our decisions? First of all, we have to acknowledge that fear is real, right? We have to acknowledge, one of the things I tell people, there are a lot of different types of fears, but I put them into like 4 categories. Fear of what other people think, fear of financial instability, right? Fear of the unknown, and fear of, so it's finances, unknown, what people think, and finance. Okay, those are the major ones, the 3 right there. I'm afraid that I'm gonna go broke. I'm afraid, look, I'm afraid I'm gonna go broke if I try this. I'm afraid if I do this, what my mama gonna think, what my husband gonna think, what my friends gonna think, what all of this, right? I know. Fear of the unknown. Obviously, that's one of the biggest fears. And like inside of our bodies, chemically, anytime there's something unfamiliar, we start getting nervous. That's where our bodies are set up. And the last one is fear of failure. That was the fourth one. Fear of failure, right? So one of the things that when you were talking about the podcast and like, because listen, I'm telling you, baby, so much money to be made in podcasting, like, because it's so early on in the industry. It's so much, it's not enough shows out there. Don't ever think you can compare yourself and say, oh, well, they've been doing it for this long and they show and they got all these views and this, that, and the other. Baby, it's not enough shows for all the people that's watching YouTube and Netflix and Instagram and all that stuff, right? So one of the things is you have to, we talk about being uncomfortable. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable for the person that God has called you to be. That's number one. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable to fully walk into the person that you are becoming. And what does that actually mean? It doesn't mean perfection. It means it needs your participation. See, we want everything to be perfect. We want the lineup to be perfect. We want the guests to be perfect. We want the lights to be perfect. We want everything to be perfect. But God is not asking for your perfection. He's asking for your participation. He's asking for your trust in him. If you take the first step, what is saying? Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not to thine own understanding. All thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path.
And he will.
And he will. But we think we need to be perfect. Listen, I'm not talking about what I heard. I'm talking about what I know. I'm talking about personally. Okay. Right. Oftentimes, what we label as procrastination is nothing but fear. Procrastination and perfectionism are one and the same.
I think so.
Right? Because I say, well, I'm going to wait till I get everything perfect, dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and then I'm going to do it. You know, I'm going to be ready. Give me another week. Give me another month. A month turns into 3 months. 3 months turns into 5 months. 5 months turns into a year. And you look and you're going around this same mountain. Time to turn over.
Yes. I'm definitely guilty of that. And it's my personality type already anyway. It's taken my life and realizing perfection hasn't caused me to have joy.
Nope. It's cost you.
It has not caused me to have peace. But if I can take that step and trust beyond my understanding, I am convinced that God's got me. I'm convinced that God has a plan, that I am finally waking up from my dream of dreaming and walking into it, because I'm now trusting and taking that step, and I'm not ready. Like, in fact, an example, and I kind of got off topic, but low key, for real, this podcast today, it was hard. Okay. Yes. It has been. And I remember, and just linking up and getting out today, I said, I'm green. I am green, right? But my old me would have said, forget it. Or I would have said, hold up, wait a minute. But I said, I have to show up, because I know in my core that because of the struggle that it has been to do this tonight, somebody needed to hear this today, because I'm not the only one out here struggling. I'm not the only one, and I'm not the only one that would have put off what they were supposed to do, their God-given duty, their God-given mission, because of it's not perfect, because it's not the way I imagine it to be, but because something in me, it's just my personal growth, made me say, this is not perfect, but I am so excited. Like, I look at things differently, right? So I look at things like, oh God, this is gonna be real good, because the way the devil is trying to tear this down.
The warfare, baby. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm like, even my own life, I'm like, whoa, I don't know how I'm gonna make it this month. This is but the stuff that has been going on, I'm like, that means my setup is so great. That means all those things that are promised to me are right on the edge of me opening that door and walking into. I just have to be patient and faithful. And I got off topic, but
No,
I had
that's
to
definitely on topic. No, baby, that is definitely on
Yeah.
topic. Somebody needs to
I
hear
had to
that.
say that. Somebody had to
Somebody
hear
needs to
that.
hear that.
You
Yes,
know,
absolutely.
I have a
So
quote
my
on my
question,
wall. I have a quote on my
yeah,
wall at
yeah.
work, and it falls right in here. Excellence does not require perfection.
No, it does not.
Excellence does
Right,
not
right.
require perfection. And like you
Mhm.
both said, we feel like everything has to be perfect before we get it done. And I will say,
Mhm.
I used to tell, when I was younger, getting ready to go to church, and they was like, "Oh, you're going to join the church? You're going to church?" No, because I'm still doing this, or I'm still
Right,
doing that.
right. Mm-hmm.
As if God ain't gonna take you the way you are. Like whatever you doing, He gonna take you. You gonna, and they always just say, whatever you doing, I'm gonna take that away from you as your walk goes there. And I think sometimes when we come up in the church, we come up like that. We feel like we got to be perfect
Yes,
to
yes.
be, or to make things good, or to make them successful. It has to be perfect.
Well,
But
where does that come from, though, y'all? You know,
Mm.
especially as a Black woman, we have had to be perfect. We have had to
absolutely,
be twice as good to get half the pay. You understand what I'm saying? That's why
Mhm.
we have been assimilated into that.
yes,
So
Mhm.
that's why, and oftentimes it's not what anybody else is requiring us; it's what we're requiring of ourselves. We're putting unrealistic expectations on
oh,
ourselves, which is why we see ourselves as a failure. And what we would consider as failure, people wish they had the courage to take one
girl,
step toward it.
say that,
Come on.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew, you just said a word. You
Yeah,
just said a word.
You-
And we are our own worst critics.
we are.
I tell Charissa, we speak and we pour into each other. And sometimes the things she says to me, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? That's not me, because we're so used to not achieving, or we're so hard on ourselves that we're
Yes.
looking for that perfection that we
Mhm.
miss, like you just said, we miss what we did.
We don't even celebrate
Celebrate it.
ourselves because we
No,
so hard.
absolutely. Absolutely. And if we take time to celebrate ourselves, then we're going to miss an opportunity to be perfect.
Right. And sometimes, we've been taught that it's not good to celebrate yourself. I don't know about you, but I've been in rooms where it's been like, oh, you bragging too much, or this, that, and the
That
other. No, no, ma'am. But this is why Black women, this is why we are the way that we are. I'm just being honest. And so it
Mhm.
takes, that's why as you live and you learn, that statement, you live and you learn and you see things
Mhm.
different every phase of your life. That's why I say you have to be a different version of yourself every phase of your life.
Mhm.
Because this other thing, like all the perfectionism, when you have people working with you and working around you, that is not good for your relationships.
Mm.
Anybody that's a perfectionist, you'll know that. Right? But
Yeah.
it takes you looking outside of yourself and saying, you know what? Let me tell you what happened. This because I was a perfectionist for a long time. I still have to pray about it. But I never forget, I'm a real estate agent. And I was working with this lady. She was she was very wealthy, very smart, right? She was teaching me stuff about real estate that I didn't even know. And she ain't even a real estate agent. But she was so brash. And like I would, when I get ready to call her, I would just start shaking. And y'all know that ain't even me. I'm not afraid to talk to nobody, right? But then God said, He stopped me right there. He said, what if people feel like that when they get ready to talk to you?
Hello.
God said, is that what you want? Is that what you want? God allowed me to see who I could become by looking at what I didn't want in somebody else.
Mm.
But we feel like we gotta do so much. This is the plight of the Black woman, because inside of these organizations, not just corporations, but inside of churches and everywhere else, you got to do twice as much to get half of the credit. So
Mm.
that's why that value I talked about that environment is so important, because you got to be in environments that actually celebrate you, right? That you're not competing. Don't feel like you have to compete, right? But we don't have to be perfect. That's how you take your power back. Realize you don't have to be perfect. You got to be present.
Ooh, say that. Say that.
Fully present.
We having a whole conference right here. So, so speaking of like beyond the limits, beyond purpose, beyond power, beyond legacy, what limitations have we accepted as truths?
Oh, we just talked about some of them, right?
And how do we simply move from surviving to intentionally creating the life we want? You know what I mean? Like,
some of the limits we put them on ourselves.
Yeah.
Mental
Some
limits.
of the limits we put on ourselves.
Mental limits.
Right? So what I learned through my John Maxwell training is that the only limits we have are the ones that we put on ourselves, right? Because what we have to realize is just because something didn't work out the way that we wanted it to, it doesn't mean that we were a failure, right? Just because I lost the job don't mean that I lost my value. You understand what I'm saying? So what we have to do is we have to, I like to call this, interrogate the conclusion. Why did this happen? What did I learn from this? Right? So with me, I don't put any limits on myself. I just really don't. The only limits I put on myself is what God tells me. And so if I think about going from surviving to thriving, or the life that I want to have, I think is what you said, Charissa. When we think about surviving, it's just what can I do to stay alive? What can I do to pay my bills? You know what I'm saying? What can I do to maintain where I am? Right? But when you think about thriving, you have to have an innovative mindset. You have to have a creative mindset, right? Like right now, today, like as unstable as our economy is right now, it's probably one of the biggest opportunities that we've had in our lifetime, because everything is evolving so fast. AI is taking over everything. So there really is no blueprint of what next looks like. We have an opportunity to create it ourselves. So if you want to go from surviving, you can stop talking about woe is me and start thinking about how do I become the next version of myself that the next version of me needs to be, right? So we got to discard the past chapters, the things that don't serve us, the things that are holding us back, and then ask yourself, what do I need to move forward? Right? What do I need? And some of that I already have, right? Regardless of what my skill set was. If I lost a job, I had a job, I learned some things there. What can I take from what I already have and then put that with some new skills to create the new person I want to be? But again, I'm going to go back to what I said. It starts with the mindset. It starts with the environment. And you have to make a decision to step outside your comfort zone. That's the only way. The only way you get to thriving is step outside your comfort zone. Period, point blank.
So thriving, pivoting, moving.
Yes.
Purpose.
My God.
Purpose.
What
does confidence, how does confidence play into your purpose? We all have a purpose,
yes,
sometimes we like we said, our purpose changes. Our purpose changes. I may be confident in my purpose right now.
Okay, that's good.
I may be confident in my purpose right now. But does confidence play a role in your purpose and your legacy?
Absolutely. When you think about purpose and confidence, this is how I see them working together. How many of us know what we need to do? How many God has spoke to us and we know exactly what we need to do? But remember those three things I said: mindset, milieu, and movement. Without confidence, you won't walk in your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence is the action that purpose needs. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It's going to make you move, because how many of us know exactly what we should be doing? Now, some of us don't know, but many of us know exactly. Come on now. We know exactly what we should be doing, but we still stuck because of comparison, because of fear, because of whatever. But that confidence says that I trust myself to move. I trust myself that even if I don't have the whole map, even if I don't know every step from A to Z, that I'm going to take the first step because I trust God, and I trust what He's put in me, and I trust myself to be able to do it. Confidence is the action that purpose needs.
So with that, I hear you have that confidence. You got to have that confidence to get to your purpose and to get to true north.
Yes, yes.
So how are we going to know that that's our true north? That we're going into our purpose, that we're walking into our purpose, and at what point do we differentiate the confidence with cockiness in our purpose?
So I think one of the biggest myths about purpose is that when you know your purpose, you know everything that you should do, you know exactly how it's going to line up. But can I tell y'all something, ladies? Just like in dreams, you dream in parts, purpose will come in parts. You have to, you won't know everything. As I said earlier, it will continue to evolve. So the only way that you're going to know, number one, you got to be clear. That's why the Bible says all things work together for the good for them that love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. So first of all, you got to hear from God. And just like God doesn't give you everything all at one time. When you pray, He doesn't give you the entire solution in the prayer. Right? So sometimes you may not know all the way. I'm just going to be honest with you. But you know that this is the direction that you need to move in. And when you continue to move in that right direction, then God will continue to give you more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And as you begin to walk outside of fear, then you're going to understand and know. Does that make sense? Because I would be lying to you if I said that, oh, God's going to tell you everything that you're going to give you one download, going to tell you everything that you need to do. And you know that you won't. I had no idea. I had no idea that I would ever work with international students, right? But I was just obedient. God had given me the skill to be a professor, and I ended up, because my obedience, I ended up in a school with international students, not knowing that that was leading to my purpose of helping them overcome their fear of speaking, because English is their second language. So my purpose ultimately is to help people overcome fear and all those kinds of things. I had no idea that this stop along the way at this private school in Lawrenceville had anything to do with it. You just got to be obedient.
Wow. That's great. I'm here for it. Obedience.
Yeah, you ain't gonna know it all. You don't need to know it all.
Ramifications that I could have avoided had I just been obedient. So
obedience is better than sacrifice.
Speaking of what we are doing, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, because my mic was doing some funny things again. This whole night has been like wrapping our arms around women and giving them, letting them hear that it's okay to not be perfect, because we are always so hard on ourselves, all of us. And even those, and this was good that you're here, Dr. Lexy, because you have an aura of, you walk in confidence. You are confident. But even you are human, and someone needed to know that, because people tend to kind of back away from or say, oh, I'm not worthy of, or I can't do this because I'm not her. I can never do that. But we all are not her. We all have things that we have to work through. We are put on this earth to serve a purpose, and my purpose is not hers. My purpose is not yours. So it's okay that we are, that we are who we are. And funny story, like I'm realizing in my older age that I am socially awkward. For real. Like I didn't realize how bad it was. But you know what's so funny is even God uses those things to connect me to people in a way that isn't that weird? But it's really true. Speaking of connecting us to each other and women, in closing, we have to talk about Turn North, this wonderful conference coming. I am so excited to participate in, and I know that Shay is too. And like we are excited for the women to be able to participate in Turn North. And tell me about it. Tell me what to look forward to. Where it gonna be at? What's going on?
Absolutely. So Turn North is a one-day, listen to me, ladies, it's a one-day transformational experience. It is not a conference. It's a transformational experience for women who have been carrying loss, uncertainty, financial strain, rejection, job loss, anything you name it, right? We're coming together for one day. We're going to worship God. We're going to have honest conversations, right? And y'all know I am all about practical strategies. We're going to have practical strategies that help move women to transformation. The 4 pillars are release, restore, rebuild, and rise. Release what's been holding you back. Restore what the enemy tried to steal, right? And get healed. Rebuild what rejection took away from you. And rise. Get outside of your comfort zone. It's going to be on October the 17th. It's going to be starting at 8 o'clock. We're going to go all day till like 4:30 to 5 o'clock. It's going to be at the beautiful Westin Atlanta in Gwinnett County. It's beautiful. The hotel is only a few years old. And we have the Royal Conference Center. And I want you guys to know this. This is not a place where you're coming for motivation or inspiration. This is a place where you're coming to get your swag back, okay? You're coming, you're going to get tools and techniques to help you in your next. You're going to have powerful women that are going to be pouring into you. We have a curriculum that is designed to do all of those things. We're going to have a release room. You can release all of those things, all of the hurt. We have professional mental health specialists that will be on site and powerful women of God that are anointed prophetess and apostles and pastors that are going to be there, that are going to help and be your midwife and help you through that healing process. And then when we get to that rebuild, we're going to have professional HR specialists, brand specialists. They're going to help you pivot and rebrand yourself for your next. And then you're gonna have me there in the rise room that's gonna help you step outside your comfort zone into what God has called you. Listen, this is an experience. You don't want to miss it. You need to get your ticket. You can go to our website, nowturnnorth.org. That's www.nowturnnorth.org. Tickets are only $110. We even got a payment plan if you want to. 2 payments of $55. Listen, it's well worth the investment. Listen, anybody that knows me, that I only do everything one way, that's an excellence. I'm going to make sure that this is a conference, an experience that you will never forget, and that you won't leave the way you came.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. That's great. And before we do sign off, Dr. Lexy, can you let the viewers know where they can get your book?
Absolutely. It is available on Amazon. It is available on Amazon. Now, I do have 2 copies. I think I showed you guys the softback version. That's a picture of me. I have a corporate version, a corporate version that is a unisex for everybody. It's a little more expensive because it's hardback and all of that. But it is available on Amazon. It's called She Has Confidence, 21-Day Journal to Unshakable Confidence. Absolutely.
21 days to form a habit. And if you
Yes.
can form confidence in 21 days, how powerful would that make all of us?
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
It's crazy. I said I'm not even a member of the church yet, but people are going to be looking at me like, why is she at everything? But she ain't even a
Everything. We want
member
you.
of everything. I said, yeah, but I ain't a member of church. I said, but I'm gonna be right up in the north with
Yes,
everybody
ma'am. I love it.
else. Dr. Lexy,
Yes.
do you have any social media platforms that the audience can come and hear you speak or give tidbits of information? Where can they follow you so they can come and keep getting this wealth of knowledge and keep getting your spiritual uplifting and how you pour into people just with your presence? Where can they find you to get all this?
Well, in the Instagram streets is Dr. Lexy Realtor, DrLexyRealtor. And on TikTok is Alexia's branch. I don't have my Facebook activated right now, but it's branch Lexy when it does get activated. So yeah.
All right.
Dr. Lexy Realtor.
Yes. And so that means if we need a house, we can come to you.
That part. Yes, ma'am. If you need a house, okay, because I got you.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's network all of it out here.
All them checks. Yes, ma'am. And also, my company is Confidence University. So if you're interested in one-on-one coaching or you're interested in joining my community, which is I'm getting ready to start at the Confidence community, then please go to confidenceisasuperpower.com.
All right.
I will have a booth at the conference, so you'll get more information about that too as well.
All right. Great.
All right. Shay, I'm almost tempted to let us get out. Am I still lagging really bad?
No, right now you're pretty good.
Right now you're good.
Okay, right now I'm good. Okay, so on that note, we want to get off here before I'm not able to be heard at all. So thank you, ladies, both for being here. And Be Free is all about empowering, encouraging, and enlightening. And you did all of the things, all the three things today. So we're gonna sign off and say night. Shay is gonna take us out. But you three ladies, you two, all three of us will stay put for just one moment. But good night.
Good night, everybody. Turn north. See you October 17th.